through it.
It's definitely, they're working on the interior of it. We were looking at the walls where they were gonna be going in. Reagan, do you have any comments? Have you been out there to look
I
at
was
that?
out there today, I didn't go in it, because none of the doors were open, but, I mean, from the outside, it looks like a complete building, so I
Yeah.
think they're doing the finish out stuff on the inside.
We're also working on some, water issues where, that water on that, from that baseball field, that area comes all in that direction, so we're, gonna be building a little, drainage. It's not concrete, because, so it'll get it away from the building. But, when we had the one good rain we've had this year, it gathered up under those, the portable buildings pretty, because we dammed it up. It had been going through there, and we dammed it up, so now we've gotta work on the drainage, a little bit there. So anything, Mr. Bessel?
We're gonna run a sidewalk that'll connect, all that to the back of the tennis courts. You know, we have a running sidewalk by the greenhouse too, so our tennis classes can walk through there too without having to walk, you know, in the mud. So they're kind of laying that out.
And so they don't have to go out, from an unsecured area as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
And
Kind of get a figure on it. So we hadn't had enough rain to get it, we kind of know. And also, as you know, on that back side of the tennis courts, it holds water back there. Every time a tennis ball rolls in that water, it kind of ruins it. So we're trying to prevent that from even getting there if we can. So.
when I play tennis, that's what I always try to do, is hit it in the water. Hit it in golf too.
My other one was, so like the HVAC repairs, I assume intermediate got fixed and good. to
Yes,
go.
sir.
Oh, yeah, that was a,
And the temporary, there's some temporary stuff that helped us out too, and then able to come in. We had a couple of, a separate situation, but yes, sir.
had a leak on a module that was in the air handler, actually was the problem, and so that's, that building, was added on to in about 93, 92, and, that module is dated, and they had trouble getting all the components for it. So, you know, what we did was had a workaround to get it, try to get it fully open, I believe, which caused, actually, they were a little cool.
Some of them, you know, it's hard to regulate it, but they were great. And we borrowed some fans from the high school, and it was great. We're good.
It took about a week. Is that what, about right, or was it a little more than that?
Maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On page 15, the art services, they do most of our cafeteria repairs, and that 25,608 includes 14,000 that was a walk-in freezer that had gone out in the spring, that we just got put back in. And your supplemental bills, we're on page 17. So there's another listing of City of Adelaide, the water bill for August, 14,000. And the Taylor Electric bill for August, 105,000 there.
So we'll, let's be sure and look at, of course, again, opening another building kind of changes the dynamics a little bit, but I would like to see how that compares to last year.
Finishing up with some more September costs. Techman Houston, 27,000. That's some lighting equipment for our PAC building.
So let me tell you all what that is. You know, every program you've got, they're always trying to get better. And one of the things that they have been asking for about a year and a half is they're basically what they call intelligent lights, and they are, you'll see them in different shows where they you can program them, and they'll go to a certain spot, or they'll have a design in them, or, anyway, this is, really top-end stuff. He was talking about, you know, some of the shows that we host, or perform in, that they will greatly benefit from that. As a matter of fact, we've got a group coming, Mr. Hagler, who's coming soon, your group is, anyway.
Travis Tripp.
Travis.
That is,
That's
gonna be the Travis Tripp.
Gonna be at our facility.
That's the rest
You
of
need to be
Habitat for
talking-
Humanity, right?
Habitat for
You need to be
Humanity.
talking to Miss, I don't know, that's the Builders Association.
Oh.
That's the Builders
Okay,
Association.
we'll talk to you. So is it with the Habitat for Humanity?
It's the
Habitat for Humanity. I wanted a
Habitat.
ticket.
They're using our facility and
Crap.
told by air and water that,
Crap.
if the sales go as predicted, they're gonna be able to build 2 homes.
Awesome.
2 needy people in the community, with, of course, free labor.
Is the pack big enough?
Well, it's 1,000 folks, so.
And when is that?
Mr. Hagler.
December 2nd,
Yeah.
first or second.
Yeah, he's
Hey,
got
man.
30.
I'm gonna retire before you.
Anyway, so this is one of those improvements to the pack that's, you know, Mr. Shue knows is performing our stuff. He said this is a
So good upgrade to the pack.
big one, yeah. And the Huddle subscription, that is what everybody in the athletic world uses now for filming, trading film, promotion of athletes, that kind of stuff. Any questions on the bills? Cash balance?
Cash balance, end of August. All funds, 9,023,000. Like I say, we just go down once we get past February, and that we receive very little income. So, we finished all our building projects except for that CTE building, and it's mostly done.
And again, that's a gift, so it's a
Did,
float.
did the, tennis court lights get squared away yet, or are we still waiting?
No, we're still waiting on that. We have not heard anything on that. Mr. Hagler, will you make it over there, Desiree, we'll follow up and see if they're, what the projection is, I just don't know.
So page 20 is the revenue report, and once again, 20 and 21, we are using the revised budget numbers, which is our predictions to close out the year with. So I'm not sure they have a lot of information in them at this particular time.
Carol, on the 5829, we think we're gonna catch up, we're at 91,689, is that correct? But we're hoping to catch up to 206,000, is that right?
The state programs, that's probably one that I just kind of left in there a little bit. You know, that's basically our technology allotment that we didn't use as much of this year because we were using some federal dollars for a lot of our licensing and software and things like that. We were able to use some federal dollars. And so I think for this year, that's just gonna stay under budget on that one area.
Is that our textbooks?
It is.
So just as a reminder on textbooks, if we buy $100,000 worth of textbooks, we request $100,000 reimbursement. And that, on that piece, is pretty, I mean, it's what we spend is what we'll request. Mr. Hagler, any comments on that?
Yeah, I've talked to you about that before. We have to keep stored in that account because the adoptions are coming. We have some major adoptions come up in the next 2 years. Unfortunately, the state made the decision to reduce the amount we got last year by 67%, so we'll receive, I'm gonna guess it's about $325,000 what we're expecting, close to $1 million. We have a balance there that's pretty sizable, it's close to about $600,000. But when you look at a science and math adoption coming up, next year for science and 2 years later for math, that will take every bit of that balance and probably more to be able to do those two adoptions. Plus we have a social studies adoption in there as well.
And we'll get more money in the new biennium, but.
Maybe the question is how much?
Yeah, I mean, that, I still don't know what their thinking was when they reduced
We
it.
may not get that information, we usually get that deposit in late April, early May, but that's when the legislative session's meeting. So who knows when we'll get that dollar amount, the number to us.
So let me make one other comment. You know, that's that one line item, Mike, that we talked about. We used to put basically almost the balance that we had available to us. And if we didn't use it, well, it really kind of skewed things because it would show that we're expecting all that money and we really aren't. 200,000 is down quite a bit, what we used to put in there. But again, didn't even come close to that.
Just looking for money.
You know,
So the next question, 5929, the federal revenue from TEA.
Right.
So do we expect to make up that difference?
Once again, that's kind of like the 5829, we get what we expend, and so that's kind of a balancing thing there too. It's the federal programs, and federal programs, you request reimbursement after you spend the money, and so probably that one's gonna stay pretty close to where it's at. The one thing that is not reported, the 5812, the school foundation program, there will be a settle up on that, and we have not posted that entry yet, so we're thinking between 800,000 plus could be coming in on that line.
now let me tell you, insider baseball here. Carol's being conservative. They did something really interesting on about a week ago. They had us at 802,000 to be precise. 802,000 that was gonna be our settlement. On the 8th, they put a new entry, and it's called the near final. Not final, but near final. And in that, it showed us nearly at 1.4 million instead of 800,000. Since the 8th, they changed it again earlier today to like 1.32 million, but still substantially. It had said at 800,000 for a long time. We've been talking about that number for a while. So I read an article put out by TASMO, Texas Association of School Business Officers, and they said it's that time of year, you just never know what's gonna be kicked out at you when they do settle up. So I think a lot of schools will do something that it just scares me to death, but they will overestimate that, and they'll try to get all the money and get more than what they do. So when settle up happens, they're actually giving some money back, because if it's in your pocket, you're getting interest on it. But I don't like that style. It makes me really nervous, because if you miss it very much, which there's been a school district in our near vicinity, that's probably been 12 years ago or so, that missed it bad, and it really hurt. So let's not do that.
I tend not to count those eggs.
Yeah, she doesn't
Okay.
even, she doesn't want to do that because it's changed twice since the 8th.
Mhm.
So,
Maybe it'll change again next
yeah,
year.
maybe move the other one. So,
Okay, thank you.
Anything on expenses?
If that happens, we could just use the terminology maintenance and effort
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they don't let, they mess up, but we can't. Yeah, and that's the way that works.
Is to stay under 100% on your functions, on your expense lines, and so we've done that.
That's great.
That's where we like to end up on the expense side.
End of the fiscal year. Anybody else have any questions on any of the finances?
I'm gonna repay the bills.
Second.
You get that, Desiree? You know, I really think our guys ought to stand up and say, I'm. Yeah. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Unanimous, Desiree. We need some adjunct faculty, Mr. White.
Yes, sir, actually, the next two items deal with the same thing. If we have 4-H members in Taylor County that want to participate, that we can allow the extension office to be their supervisors when they go compete, and we still need to count them as representing the school, so we don't lose their attendance. And so this has been a long-standing practice. Matter of fact, we really think there's one more that's out there that Jones County usually gives us one. They haven't given us theirs yet. Desiree, we slow played this because we had one of them. Taylor County's, we had Mitchell's first, and then we waited till this month and we got 2 of them. So I'm guessing we'll have another one. But I would recommend that you grant that adjunct facility status for Taylor County Extension staff.
And then we're gonna turn around and do it.
For Mitchell.
I'll make a motion, we grant adjunct faculty status in Taylor County Extension.
Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, Desiree. Now we're gonna talk about Mitchell.
Same thing.
Y'all have any questions? Somebody comes out there and stays on the chair.
I'm gonna go 2 for 2.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to grant adjunct faculty status for Mitchell County Extension.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously, Desiree. All right, Mr. Light, proposed policy revisions.
Yes, sir. We had received some information from ISD, Texas Association of School Boards. We should have policy revisions that relate to our district innovation plan. And since Mr. Hagler is our district of innovation plan expert, I'll go ahead and let him present this.
Back in the spring, you as a board approved the renewal of our innovation plan, and has reviewed our updated plan and advised that we need to consider the revision of 2 of those policies. Remember, this has already been approved by you, but it's a catch-up item because it's not in the TASB policy. So both of them are in front of you. The first one is the maximum probationary contract period. In accordance with the district's innovation plan, the district is exempt from the state law regarding the maximum length of time an experienced teacher may be employed on a probationary contract. At the recommendation of the superintendent, a probationary contract may be renewed for, if you notice the changes, we had it as 1. We changed that to 2 in the spring, additional 1-year periods, for a total of, it says 2 in policy, we changed that to 3 for a person who has been employed as a teacher in public education for at least 5 of the 8 years preceding employment by the district. So it's just a policy catch-up. And then the second one was having to do with class size ratio. In accordance with the district's innovation plan, the district is exempt from the state law requiring the district not to enroll more than 22 students in, ours says kindergarten, it should be changed to pre-kindergarten through grade 4. That's not something that we brought before y'all in the spring. That's something that changed in the last legislative session. It just hasn't been updated. So when enrollment in pre-kindergarten through grade 4 class exceeds 22 students, the superintendent shall inform the board, and parents of the students in the class shall be subsequently be notified.
One thing I do want you to know is don't let this concern you, because we do a great job with the principals, make sure we stay at a 22-1 ratio. And when we add pre-K, I've talked to Ms. Salmon about this, we try to keep that below 18-1. So don't let that concern you with that change. Any questions?
I move we approve the proposed policy revisions.
Thank you for being bump all along.
I'll second.
Anybody else have any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Desiree, that's unanimous. Mr. White, we got principal reports next.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna ask if they all stand on 1 foot.
Unless it's Miss Salmon, of
Oh,
course.
Miss Salmon, yeah.
'Cause I'm on
She
the
can
front
sit on
row.
a chair. We need a recliner for her.
Who's up first? Miss Salmon?
Of course.
She's
Of
probably
course.
on the
Going in
front
order,
row.
I think.
She's first in line.
Okay, so you can see our enrollment there at the Early Childhood Center, and in our new pre-K 3 class, staff children, we have 20 kids in there. So that's a fair amount and seems to be going well. We are in the middle of our campus fundraiser. We'll be finished on the 22nd. This Thursday, we're going to have a lockdown drill and a fire drill immediately after. And then next week, we are going to have our campus site-based decision-making committee meeting. Then at the end of the month, we have our beginning of the year testing, the required testing that we do 3 times a year. And that's CLI Engage for pre-K and M-Class for kinder. And then our... It actually measures different things. CLI for pre-K measures various different things, math, language, that kind of thing, even some social emotional type things. And then M-Class is primarily language based. It's, you know, at the beginning of the year, it's letters and sounds, and it'll go it'll go as far as the student is in other words, advanced, I guess. So, and we do that through 2nd grade. So anyway, okay, so and then on September 30th, our kindergarten, they're going to go take a field trip to the zoo. They do that every early fall. And then on Halloween, we're going to have our book character dress-up day. And so hopefully they dress up like a book character and bring the book and share it. We're going to start the Backpacks for Kids second 6 weeks. We are teaching character counts every month on Tuesday, and then we talk about it all month. It's trustworthiness this month, and anyone who is caught being trustworthy, they get their picture on the board in the cafeteria and get a bracelet. So they're very proud of that. And then that's about all. Down here at the bottom, we usually send out an information type PowerPoint or have a meeting in pre-K 2 to 3 weeks after school starts. We've done it from the beginning. A lot of questions are answered that way, and we're just sending out a PowerPoint instead, and then we're going to have our open house real early, about the first part of October. So, any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so for West Elementary, you can see our enrollment at the top. We've got 424 students, and a lot of events are going on in September. We have our lunch provided by First Financial, rewarding West Elementary for 100% of our personnel giving to United Way. And we have our PTO meeting, we have that on the 8th. We've got our fundraisers that are gonna be beginning. We have the regular fundraiser, and then we have our readathon. We have our in-class testing also that does test language arts. And then we're preparing for our safety audit. Stan has just been working very hard at that, and we're encouraging him because he's helping the teachers really to ingrain that, keeping our doors shut and locked. And then the most important thing is that our second grade is going to be going to the Children's Theater performance at the PAC in October, and then November, our first grade will go to the dais to see the C-130s, and that's the most important thing on the whole sheet. Yes, they're really excited about it. Do y'all have any questions?
You got brownies too.
You really time us? Yes. Okay, I'll go fast. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to serve this campus and to lead this amazing staff that you already had put in place for the most part before I came on board. So thank you for that. It's going really well. We had, as of tomorrow, I met with a mama today, and her 2 kids will be coming tomorrow, and so we'll go over 800 kiddos on our campus starting tomorrow. So we'll have 801 tomorrow. And you can see the breakdown of the other classes on your sheet. Academically, our intervention testing has wrapped up. We are now having all of our students receive their intervention supports, which is in the areas of dyslexia and Title I reading lab, accelerated instruction, and the math and reading lab for 2nd and 3rd graders. We are implementing something that we started at the junior high campus, the Acts of Kindness Club. We're doing that now at the East Elementary, and that's been really fun. And kids get really excited. They're like, I want to be part of the club. So that's been neat to see come to fruition. We are also following the Character Counts program, and we have integrated that with some behavior and doing Character Counts discipline folders. So all the teachers do discipline folders, and they were doing that anyway, so we've just incorporated that with the Character Counts program. And then we had our new student parties on September 9th, and Ms. Thompson had a donut and a t-shirt for all of our new students, and we had almost 100 kiddos. I think it was 96 kiddos that are new to Wylie and new to our campus. So that was really fun. Important upcoming dates, we will have the kindergarten is hosting a Dress as a Letter Day, and so staff is participating in that, and we're having our students participate across the board, not just kindergartners, so that's going to be really fun. So we're going to pick a letter, and it can be just something simple like dressed in all blue because you're the letter B or something. So I think it'll be a fun reinforcer. That'll kind of wrap up our ABC boot camp that our kindergartners doing. The next thing that we're looking forward to is October 25th. We're having a Bulldog Success Night. We're hosting this with PTO, where we will invite parents. We'll have food trucks, and we'll provide babysitting. Some of our high schoolers are going to be there to provide free babysitting for our parents to be able to come and hear about some of the things that we're doing on campus and academic success. We're going to talk about some best practices with technology. Even the little ones need to know about that. And talk about school safety as well, and some new things we're implementing campus-wide with regard to that, and social and emotional learning. We'll go over that as well. So I think it'll be a really fun night. I hope we have a really good turnout for that. Some of the same programs that Ms. Besant talked about, the field trips, we are also participating in. We're excited. Kindergartners going to the zoo. First graders are getting to go to Dias. We worked that all out. I was super excited that got to happen. And second graders will be going to the PAC for the high school has created their own children's theater, and they've invited us to come, so we're excited to participate in that as well. Book fair is coming up in November, and I think that those are the main updates. I'm having our campus advisory committee will be in September too, and some things I left off the list that she said, and I was like, oh, I gotta say those too. But anyway, learning. Safety updates, we've successfully completed both a lockdown and a fire drill. We did implement it with the alarms. I don't think that had been happening previously, but the kids did great. We did some exposure therapy ahead of time with some videos of what it was gonna sound like, so they did great. And we made some adjustments in terms of not allowing kids to transfer to classes outside the building. They stay in the building or in the gated areas at all times. So Any questions?
Thinking about your 800 kids, do you have any more room over there?
We do. We have a couple of classrooms that are not being utilized right now, so we do have a little bit of space. So I think we can make it work as we continue to grow. And if you've seen the buildings around our campus, we are continuing to grow for sure.
I think about 850.
Well, we had, so at the high point, that first year, I think we closed in on 950.
950.
But I will say, and this was brought up in our long-term facilities committee meeting, we have got to probably utilize some different settings as far as the small groups. Small groups, when you have to put them in a full-size classroom, that's really inefficient. So whether you're taking a classroom and cutting it in half or in thirds, or those like 1-on-5, just where you've got to be around the kidney table and you're giving instruction, you don't need a full-size classroom. So we'll have to study those kinds of things. There's a lot of opportunities out there that I think we can take advantage of. And we did have, that does sound crazy right now when you hear that we're at 800 now, and if you said you were gonna put another 150 kids on that campus, you probably scratch your head, how am I gonna do that? But I think that was our high point, and that's, that was when we started scaling back groups on that campus from the pre-K, and then, moving the 4th grade off, because of all those kinds of things.
How much more time?
Yeah, that's, let me make one other comment. She talked about all the new students to our campus, 97, that's about 1/8, 1 out of every 8 kids on that campus. And that, you might look at that and say, well, that's nice, that's, 12%, et cetera. But that is really hard to keep a culture going and creating that culture when there's a fairly large influx of new students all the time, because you're trying to get them to buy into your culture all the time. And so that is a big challenge for all the campuses as we experience the growth, because they're coming because they want to be part of this thing that they hear about, and we want to be sure that at the end of the day they're getting that. But it's a challenge. So
the T-shirts do say it's great to be a Wiley.
Hey,
so we're trying.
So that's all they need to know.
Thank you.
Good job, good job. I'm gonna hide this ice cream cake, my wife is watching.
Too late, Mr. Booth. You heard it.
Oh, Miss Bishop passed on the first bow and went on to me, but hey guys, it's great to be back here. We're off to a great start. Just want to say a couple of things about our enrollment number. 457 sounds a little bit better than 801. And but their third, it's funny, the numbers in 3rd grade is 244, and last year in 2nd grade group, when in March, they were like 216, 218 or something. That group jumped, and our 4th grade actually went down just a little bit. So it's just, you just never know how it's going to go, but we're doing great. We have a little plan just in case if we keep adding, but right now our teachers are doing great, our kids are doing great.
Mr. Boone made a good prediction. He actually moved a teacher from 4th grade to 3rd grade, and at this point it's still right.
And she's doing great. And yes, right now we looked at those numbers and we're just kind of, it's great. We're coming in and doing a great job. The teachers are hitting it hard. So we appreciate what they're doing right now.
That means he's right on 22 to 1.
Mr. Haggard ordered some more textbooks, and he did like 8%, and one of those classes was 11%. You just never know. So I appreciate it. We're getting there. Safety improvements, can't say enough. Mr. Bessent's with a lot of work over the summer for some things, and we're continuing to do some daily practices. Again, people mentioned checking doors. One of the big things I think is our substitute safety training. We had 4 substitutes come in this morning, and our counselor and I and our secretary, we trained them about locking the doors. And that's something that and the different procedures that we have. And matter of fact, if you look at we've already had 2 safety drills. We conducted 2 safety drills already, and sure enough, we had subs on that day. And so it's good to they know a little bit about what the plan is. And so That's some good stuff coming in. Again, we do the character counts, trustworthiness, like the rest of the group. I'm just gonna pick a couple of other things real quick. Tomorrow, I'll kind of pick this up from Mr. Goodenough. We're bringing in some subs, and we'll have 4th grade reading in the morning, math in the afternoon. And then, of course, Ms. Cooper is going to help us out with that, so we appreciate Mr. Hagler bringing in Ms. Cooper. And then we'll do the 3rd grade next Tuesday, so 4th grade tomorrow, the 3rd grade next Tuesday. Our new student party is coming up, and I asked my counselor today, we have 69, so 69 out of our 457 are new to us. And one other thing my counselor said I forgot to put on here, she's having a meeting tomorrow with our students whose parents are deployed, and it's called My Parent is a Hero. And so this is her first meeting with this group, and she's going to meet regularly with this group, so I'm anxious to kind of see how that goes. So we really appreciate Ms. Coulter, and they're taking care of that. Big 3rd grade Safety City trip starts on Wednesday, and we'll finish up on Monday, so we'll rotate through there. The kids always love the Safety City trip. And our teachers are going to do a little tailgate party this Thursday. We kind of celebrate homecoming, so we're going to have some fun there. I'm going to skip down to the end and back to the favorite book character day. We'll do that on Halloween. So that's some other things that we have in there I didn't talk about. But if you have any questions, let me know. Appreciate you guys. And I'm not the closer anymore. We have a new closer coming up.
He brings the heat, Mr.
I'll go down this ice cream.
So just to say, that 69 on that campus is 15%. So he's got, which would surprise me. I would usually think the east side would have a higher percentage of new students to the district. But
Well, they just love coming to our campus, Mr.
yeah, there you go. At least the 3rd graders do.
That's right.
You know, I will brag a little bit on Mr. Amonette's staff. I know, I'm sorry. I went and subbed on Friday, and they're 2 ladies that work the front desk. I mean, they sat there and made me watch that training video. So LaFrance pretty much yelled at me through the YouTube video on what to do, so that was pretty cool.
All right, Wylie East Intermediate. So again, you can see the enrollment numbers there. You can change that 5th grade. I got a notification from admin. We're going to add a 5th grade girl, so we'll be at 185. So 185 starting actually on Wednesday. So again, everybody kind of started out focusing on what's going on inside the campus. With the new campus, I want to kind of focus on what happened outside. I don't know if you've driven by there, but obviously the school zone lights got approved, and man, I didn't really believe Mr. Cameron Wylie when he said they're probably going to be up the first day of school, and I'll be dadgum. I mean, they were there, so it was good to get those schools. I think that's really helped with the flow of traffic and everything. So, and then kind of going from the street now up into the campus on the drive, grass is growing in. Obviously, we've got some rain, and that's helped out. So again, shout out to the Mow crew and Mr. Bessett, those guys. I appreciate them kind of taking care of us. So, because when it needed to be mowed, they'd say, hey, turn off the water a couple of days, and then they'd come out and mow and kind of get it. I think that's really helped it out a bunch. So again, thank you to those guys on that. Other things going on at Wylie East Intermediate, finishing up our returning teachers. They're getting their T-test goals in for our evaluation, and then I'm meeting with the new teachers to Wylie in the next couple of weeks. So Honor Choir had tryouts. I think they had over 100 students try out, and she narrowed that to over 50, so that are going to be participating and performing throughout Abilene, and then even at the Performing Arts Center throughout the year. Accelerated instruction, again with House Bill 4545, Mr. Boone and I teamed up with to kind of bank some hours on that, so that's really paid some dividends there. So it's kind of lessened the numbers where we can kind of keep those in small groups, and so we're able to do that throughout the school day.
What are you talking about, banking hours?
So on banking hours, so we have some other kids that are in other programs that it would be hard for them. They'd either have to come before school or after school, and so we offered that, or they could come to summer school. And they came to summer school to get some of those hours in remediation to kind of help throughout that. So that's really helped them where they didn't have to start off the year, in tutorials and things like that.
So they're required hours, right?
They are required. They're required to get 30 hours in each subject that they didn't pass the state standardized test.
So does that go for this school year? It'll go for.
Yeah, we got the results. That was kind of the catch.
So it'll be allotted for this school year.
Yes, it's going to be allotted for this year. So
I would say it helped out with some of our students. They did it for 4th grade. They came into 5th grade, and so we were allowed to use some of those hours and not have to have those kids in 5th grade do some of that stuff.
So you can carry them over that way.
I'm gonna tell you, all the principals that had groups that House Bill 45 has been a challenge for everybody, especially when you're also looking at staffing shortages across the state. And now, but I'm gonna tell you, they have really worked hard to try to meet the law. The first year, they kind of gave us a pass on the law. They said, yeah, this is the requirement, but nobody can meet it. So
It's a good faith effort, Mr. Light.
Sir?
Good faith effort.
Yeah, that was the term, a good faith effort. Well, you can tell that a lot of folks, well, I might have taken advantage of that if I could on a good faith effort. But they have really beefed up all the tutorial type situations, and I think everybody really feels good about where they've landed this year. So hats off to them for doing that. And the end goal is for students' performance to improve.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, every Fridays we give our Bulldog Impacts, exhibiting those bark qualities. So that's the logo you kind of see. We did do some signage this year within the building to kind of help promote that, since it's a new building and we didn't have a lot of branding stuff. Again, we kicked off our fundraiser as well. So keeping it, keep BDI in kind. We try to kind of tie in some of those goals that we have, being respectful and responsible, and those little coops that you see around each represent one of those that the kids are trying to earn. So it's kind of a neat way to kind of mesh that together. So we've had our evacuation drill with both grades in it. Everything went really, really smooth. Didn't really have to make too many adjustments there. So everything kind of flowed really nicely on our evacuation. So encouraging, had a staff meeting last week, so we encouraged them to come be at the Buddy Walk at Beltway South on the 17th. So hopefully we'll have some participation in the Buddy Walk to help Down syndrome. So a very worthy cause there. And then we're going to do our 5th grade hearing and vision screening on the 21st, and then try to have our first book fair on October 3rd through the 7th.
Thank you, Mr. Baker.
Anybody got any questions?
She's just getting ready. She's not going to quick yet.
I like it.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Next up, next to you.
Next.
Here.
There you go.
I just wanted to share 2 programs that are at the high school, and we're really excited about that because it involves partnerships. Over the last couple of years, we've really beefed up our partnerships with the industry and with the city of Abilene, not proper, but just people within Abilene organizations. So Develop Abilene came to us. They had a program called Next You that they have implemented in ISD, and it's been successful there. And so Marissa Rainstead, who works for the Development Corporation of Abilene, which y'all all got cards and Yeti coffee mugs from them today, reached out. She has kiddos in Wylie, and so reached out to me and wanted to see if Next Year would be something we were interested in. It's just a no-brainer. As school people, whenever people are throwing money at us, Lainey Alcorn is who I would bring with me to all the informational meetings. And we kept saying, like, well, what's the catch? What's the catch? And they just see a benefit in developing a workforce within the high school. And so that's really what the program is. You can see all the programs of study that we offer. It has to fit certain NAICS codes for tax codes. And so those are the programs of study that we offer within their parameters of those NAICS codes. Lainey will serve as our Next You coordinator. Juniors and seniors are eligible for the program. They get any junior or senior that signs up that's within this program of study, they get $1,750. So if we buy them a laptop with that, they take it and graduate with it, and they take it with them. If they need a welding helmet or welding cap, that scholarship can purchase that as well. If the class needs something, this really just opens the door to a lot of really grant money for us. If the class needs something, then Marissa told us that their workforce development piece of it will purchase it if they see that it's something that the industry uses. So it's really just exposing our kids to workforce, getting them ready to go to the next step, and investing in them staying in Abilene, going on to higher ed. You know, there's partnerships, so this scholarship can follow them after graduation. And after graduation, it's $2,500, which can pay for tuition, can pay for books or any other equipment if they go to TSTC or a 4-year university. but Lainey will be our person for that, and so she keeps all the paperwork on them, follows them, and stays in communication with them, but she also is setting up for these kiddos. I think she has a tour at Rentec set up for them, and not just tours, like getting in there and seeing what it's all about and what they can do with these skill sets that they're learning at school. And so we're excited about that partnership with them.
Has this been implemented this year?
Yes, she's got right now what Lainey's doing. So because of this program, we were fortunate to get Lainey out of the classroom for half a day. And so she's spending half her day, really she's taken on a lot of the CTE stuff that I used to do. And she's going and visiting classrooms and trying to recruit kids for this program and to get kids in this program.
How many, is there a limit on the number of kids? Let's say juniors and seniors.
We have a budget of $50,000 in scholarship money.
Okay.
AIC has never used the full $50,000. Their goal is to get 50 students signed up, and that's across 3 high schools, you know? And that took 4 years to get to that goal. And so we're hoping to get, 15 or 20 this year.
Is that a yearly budget of 50,000 or one time? Really?
It's a yearly budget of 50,000.
This is awesome, Ms. Berry.
It's a no-brainer. We just kept saying, what's the catch, what's the catch? When we had asked, can we spend the money on this? Yeah, why not? Oh no, because we have all sorts of red tape as a public school, It's just it's a very different mindset.
Very cool.
So when Reagan was presented this and she kept saying, what's the catch? And Laney saying, what's the catch? When they came to me, I said, what's the catch? And we just are so used to so many strings attached to things that it's not, a lot of times difficult to accept money because they have an agenda. But in this scenario, Develop Abilene just really wants to get these kiddos involved in the Abilene job scene.
And they just said that their industry partners see the benefit of it, of training our kids up to go out into the workforce here in Abilene.
Is there any criteria or?
So this is the flyer that Lainey hands out to students. They have to be in one of those programs of study, and that's who she's going to those classes, that they're in that program of study, and then she has an application that they fill out. And that's kind of where they start. And as long as they're committed, they're not just jumping around from elective to elective, but they've taken the intro. By the time they're juniors, they should be in about their 3rd level of coursework within that program.
So, dumb question. Are we free to share this, Jackie? Publicly on, obviously.
But on communication.
Yeah.
Like that we're partnering? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like putting it out. Have you already put it out on the?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Okay, the next thing, so that's what's so cool, just again about the relationships that we develop, is Region 14 came to me, Vicki Hayhurst at Region 14, and said, we finally think we have the players to get this grant. We've wanted to get it for years. We think we have the players now, and y'all are one of them. So I'm going to bring Paris up. This is Paris Gebo, correct? Gebo. G-E-B-O. So, and so I'll introduce her role in just a second. But so Vicki Hayhurst came to us. This is the Texas Regional Pathways Network. And we're partnering with Holly IC, Merkel IC, Region 14, Workforce Solutions of West Central Texas, the Big Country Manufacturing Alliance, and then all of us have to have a partnership with Higher Ed, which we have a partnership with Cisco and Angelo State, but through CTE with Cisco. The requirements of us to get this grant, so we've already applied and got the grant. So we have the grant for the year. It's a 1-year grant. She's part of our gift from the grant. One of the things that we had to have in place was effective advising, so we took the risk. Mr. Light, can you believe Mr. Light let me take a risk? No. Can you believe it? So Vicki felt really confident that we were going to get this grant because she said it was just the perfect, like all of our districts are just the perfect group for this grant. And one of the things we had to have is something called effective advising, and there's all these bullet points from TEA. Well, Workforce Solutions of West Central Texas has a program called Root Ed, which they call Rooted, and that is an effective advising program, and that's where CARES comes in. So we went ahead and committed to that. It's a hefty price tag, but the grant covers it. And so we went ahead and committed to that. They did let me have a contingency. If we didn't get the grant, we'd cancel it. But sign the MOU for that. And we have to have work-based learning opportunities, cross-sector partnerships, and then a manufacturing-related program, which is our welding program is actually called Applied Agriculture and Engineering. And so that's the program that we're using. Karis will be on campus every day. She started last Friday. We cleared office space. That's kind of what we do, is cleared office space and found her a place to sit.
Pull up another chair.
Pulled up another chair. And she will meet with every senior, her, and I think they're still trying to hire a part-time person. We are the biggest district they've ever started this program in, or had this effective advising in this program in, correct? Correct. And so they're excited about it because it's something new, you know? So there will be another part-time person there, but they will meet with every senior student at least 3 times this year for college and career planning. As you know now, it's a requirement for every student to either opt out of the FAFSA or fill out a FAFSA. That was a heavy burden on our counselors last year, trying to get that done. Working on TSI testing, and all these things improve our CCMR. And so help us get those CCMR points, and then also help us get that bonus money and claim all that bonus money that's out there.
CCMR.
College, career, military readiness. Sweet. And that's part of accountability as well.
And yeah, so now, every time a kiddo checks off one of those boxes, that plays a part in that A through F accountability.
Mm-hmm. So then just getting the point plays a part in A through F accountability. There's certain combinations and certain demographics that we start getting some good bonus money out of that as well. And so we're excited to have Kara. She's already started visiting with students, visiting the English classes, making herself, we got her a badge. She's a Wylie girl now. And she's a bulldog. She wore the shirt Friday, she was Friday, all the things. So I just wanted to share about those 2 programs that are really exciting. And I mean, our district is starting to get recognized, and people want to be a part of what we're doing here and want our name attached, which is really cool.
That's very great.
Do you have anything? Any questions?
Oh.
So what is your background prior to coming to this?
So right before this, I taught kindergarten for a few years, so that's kind of a big jump, kindergarten to senior.
Mm-hmm.
And then before that, I was actually in marketing.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Good.
Awesome, glad to have you.
Excited to be a bulldog.
Yeah.
Oh, thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you.
Miss Berry does push me a little bit to get outside of my comfort zone.
Good.
So anyway, they all work at it. I'm just saying. Proud of everything that they're doing over there. As you know, we're talking about CTE there, and what Ms. Collins brought to the table is just something like people lap up, like Mr. Vaughn and so forth. They're looking for opportunities to do things like that. So I appreciate her bringing that to us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tasby.
Yes, sir. Just a reminder, those that will be attending, all expenses are covered. If there's anything that doesn't get covered, we will reimburse you. So that is, we have struggled in years past getting them to acknowledge payment for the hotel or whatever. Anyway, we are taking care of that, and we've got a couple of different departure times. So if you have any questions as you get closer to that, I think, Brad, are you going to be the delegate? You're the
Credit card holder.
The credit holder of the credit card. Okay, so that's all I have. San Antonio, so it'll be the first time we've had it.
Good. All right. Well, I think we're going into executive session.
Thank y'all.
Come back.